The knock at the door was soft, almost hesitant, but in that silence, it carried weight. Daniel wiped his hands on a towel, exhaustion etched deep into his face, and opened it to find a young woman standing there. She introduced herself as Emily, the babysitter from the agency. Her voice was calm, her eyes steady, though something about the way she carried herself didn't quite fit. The twins, Lily and Rose, peeked from behind their father's legs, and within minutes they were laughing at Emily's jokes as though they'd known her forever. Daniel, a single father worn down by years of struggle, felt a strange relief. Since his wife's passing, he had worked endless hours, his once strong hands now rough from dishwashing and warehouse shifts. Nights were filled with bills and broken sleep, mornings with tangled hair and little shoes that never seemed to be found. Yet he never complained. "My girls will know I never gave up," he would whisper when the weight felt too heavy. Emily blended into their lives with surprising ease. She cooked with the twins, flour dusting their faces as cookies burned in the oven. She sat cross-legged on the floor, guiding small hands over pages of homework. Daniel often paused in doorways, watching, grateful but puzzled. She wasn't like other babysitters. She never asked for money, only smiled when he offered what little he had. "I don't do this for money," she would say. "Sometimes people are not what they seem." But Daniel's dignity came with constant trials. At the restaurant where he washed dishes, the smell of grease clung to him, and the boss barked orders without care. Other parents at school glanced at his patched clothes, whispering, pitying. Even his landlord reminded him monthly that he was behind. Yet through every humiliation, Daniel stood quiet, carrying himself with a strength his daughters could see even when the world could not. One Friday, the restaurant prepared for a private dinner. Important investors were coming, and Daniel was warned to keep silent, invisible, to scrub the floors until they shone. He almost stayed home to spare Emily the trouble, but she insisted on coming with the twins. She sat them at a corner table, their laughter soft under the clink of glasses and low hum of expensive voices. When a guest spilled wine, they sneered at Daniel. "Clean it up, dishwasher." He knelt, humiliation burning, while others laughed into their glasses. Emily watched, her eyes cold but her face still. She said nothing, but her silence carried the promise of something waiting. Then the air shifted. The restaurant owner, nervous and sweating, announced a special guest, the CEO of the city's largest company. Conversation stopped as the man entered, tall and commanding, every gaze following him. And then Emily stood. For the first time, her shoulders squared, her face composed with quiet power. All whispers ceased as the CEO's eyes fell on her. The truth struck like lightning. Emily was not just a babysitter. She was his daughter. The room erupted in shock. Guests whispered, confused why a millionaire's daughter had been working for scraps in a poor man's home. The owner stumbled over apologies, but Emily raised her hand, her voice cutting through the noise. "I wanted to know who still carries dignity when the world tries to take it away. I found my answer." She turned to Daniel, every word sharp with truth. "This man is worth more than every deal made in this room. He works with honesty. He loves with all he has. That is real wealth." The investors fell silent. The owner stuttered, trying to recover, but Emily's father lifted his hand. He stepped toward Daniel, studying him with measured respect. "She has never spoken like this for anyone. You've earned something far rarer than money, her admiration." His voice lowered so that everyone heard. Sometimes the richest hearts are found in the poorest houses. Daniel felt no triumph, only a heavy stillness. For years he had been overlooked, humiliated, unseen. Now, in one moment, truth stood in the open. Emily's words echoed in his mind. "Sometimes people are not what they seem." The twins rushed into her arms, clinging to her with joy, not caring about her last name, not caring about wealth or status. To them, she was Emelitha, one who made cookies too sweet, who read bedtime stories, who shielded them with warmth. And to Daniel, she would always be the girl who reminded him that dignity is never measured by what is in your pocket, but by what you refuse to surrender in your soul. The evening ended not with applause, but with a silence filled with respect. Those who had mocked Daniel lowered their eyes, ashamed of their cruelty. The CEO stood beside his daughter, But it was Daniel who left with honor. And as the night faded, one truth remained clear. Dignity is silent strength. Wealth is loud weakness. In a world where appearances deceive, sometimes the disguise of humility hides the richest soul of all. If you have ever met someone whose quiet courage inspired you, share their story below. And remember to subscribe for more cinematic tales that uncover the strength hidden in ordinary lives.